Hello, all of my projects at the minute are kind of taking a little bit longer than I expected. The Compton organ amongst a few other things. So I didn't really know what to do. I had a look through my video files and the footage of things I've been putting up on Patreon. There's a lot of projects here and there that don't end up getting finished, and this is one of them. I fixed this about a month ago and popped it in the museum. In fact, if you've come to This Museum's Not Obsolete in the last month, probably, you might have played on this, I don't know. So this is a Schober Tunesmith. I got this from a Vemia auction about 6 months ago. It was about £100. Yeah, you can decide whether it's worth it or not. It got delivered from Japan and it's pretty cool. Nobody else bidded on it, so I ended up with it. Yeah, unfortunately, when I got it, it didn't work, which is quite sad. It seems to me that the Schober Tunesmith, is it Schober? Somebody's gonna comment below, I'm saying it wrong. But I think it's for an American DIY kit organ. I think you could purchase it as a kit and then put it together yourself. But yeah, unfortunately, this one, when it turned up, didn't work. When I got hold of it, it was a complete punt. I put a bid on it and I just didn't get outbid. And before I took it apart, I didn't have a clue what it was. I didn't know whether it was an organ or a monophonic synth or something like that. So yeah, quite interesting. So let's fix it first. Let's have a look on the inside and see what could possibly be wrong with it. If we have a look inside of the panel, we can get a good idea of what it's actually supposed to be. Whether it's an organ or a solo machine or something like that. Oh, there's a bit at the back. Oh, no. Oh, it's all falling apart. Oh, here we go. Okay, so there's literally 2 wires coming from the organ. That is probably pointing to the fact that this is sending variable resistance, which means it's monophonic. It's only one note because you haven't got a separate wire from every key. Let's have a look behind this, shall we? See what's actually behind this. So these are all adjustable trim pots. They have variable resistance. So this whole keyboard is acting like a resistor ladder. It could be set up as a voltage divider. That means this would be 0 volts. This would be max. We'll figure it out actually, because we can test that with a multimeter. So amazingly enough, this is the whole circuit. I guess the first thing to do, because this is the mains wire that goes over to the back of the switch. This is the power switch. And that is going over to this, which is the transformer, which is transforming this power into whatever's coming out, maybe 12 volts, whatever it might say on the top of this. 035112A. So these green wires will be coming out and sending AC, and then I'm assuming this will probably be rectified from AC current, wiggly wiggly, to DC current via the power supply, which is probably with the biggest capacitors, which are right there, and there's hopefully a diode, which is right there. So that's where the power supply is being turned into DC voltage to power everything else. The first thing we need to do is test whether the electricity is going through here, into here, being careful not to get electrocuted because that's mains voltage, and then coming into here, and then somehow coming out of here to 12 volt DC to the rest of it. Ooh. This is from Japan, so there's 105 to 120 volts, 50 or 60 hertz, it doesn't matter which because it's being rectified. So we've got a converter here because it's the good old fashioned 240 over here. Plug that in. Oh, the light's turned on. We'll try not to get electrocuted. So the light is on, but there'll be no sound. Light's on, but no one's home. We get the voltmeter and figure it out, being very careful not to get zappity doodled. So 120 volts. Okay, 40 volts. So yeah, it's AC 40 volts. So now we flick over to the voltage in DC and we found a ground point, which measuring on the positives of the capacitors, we're not getting anything. So that's pointing to the fact that it is a power supply issue. So we need to figure out, oh, I found it. Oh, bloody Nora. Let's turn it off before I forget. Oh, look. The blooming circuit board's cracked. Look. The circuit board's snapped. That'll do it. Be able to pull it over. Oh no. It's an annoying, it's built in a rubbish way. If you look closely at the crack, which is right down, going all the way up here, which is coming from the output of the diode, which is rectifying it, over to here, which is the filter. Literally, the circuit board's literally snapped that point. So we need to fix that and the other parts where it snapped. In order to fix this, we're going to remove these short wires to actually make it a little bit easier for us to do so. And remember where they go. So there's 1, 2, 3. coming from the output transformer, it looks to be. Wiggle it a bit more. Ah, that's better. Look at that. There we go. So now you can get a good shot of the back of it. The crack goes the whole way through. So it goes through this trace, goes through that trace, goes through that trace. I don't think there's a trace there, but it goes through that trace as well. So we're gonna solder a bits of wire over it, and then also put a bit of glue on it just to kind of stiffify it. So I've got a bit of wire here. We're just gonna literally just Bridget Jones. So we're just gonna Bridget Jones it. Literally gonna just shove a bit of wire in there for a bit of strength across the pad. The ground that goes around the outside. Do the same on these traces up here as well. Finally, it looks like it's going through this trace as well, so we're going to add a bit more wire in here as well. A tiny dash of epoxy cement, because that's the only glue I seem to have around. So, you know, just save having to go out and find some. We're just going to use this. It'll do a job. Just make sure it gets in the cracks. Right, that's dry. That should do the job. Let's pop it back together, give it a test, and fingers crossed, that's all we need to do. So the vibrato doesn't seem to work. You can hear it's sending out a voltage because if you adjust the vibrato up and down, there's voltage. Also, it's a bit out of tune, but that might be solved with that one on the back actually. So let's just try adjusting that first. That I think is a preset for the knob. So the tuning is going to be the trim pots on the back. This is the bottom of the keyboard. You'll see there are 3 wires coming out. There's a black wire here, there's a green wire here, there's a yellow wire here. What you're looking at is a voltage divider. So it's like a volume knob, a volume preset potentiometer. But instead of a volume knob, you've actually got a load of knobs that are connected to switches that are wired in a resistor ladder. So one after the other, climbing up the ladder of resistance, which is also climbing up the ladder of voltage. The green wire, which is connected to this, is 1.2 volts, minus 1.2 volts. And the output, which is the yellow wire, if you flick on the lowest note, it's 0.8 volts, and the top note, it's minus 1 volts. You've got 0.8 volts to minus 1 volt. Plus 1 volt is the lowest note, minus 1 volt is the highest note, it would seem. We're going to start on the top note because I'm twisting the knob and it's not changing, and we're going to tune every single note as we go down with these. So if we flick on the next key, which is this key, we need to get down from C. Actually, I'm going to get a tuner. So now we're on B. Next note, which is B flat, A sharp. You need to go from the top of the ladder all the way down. Because if you go the other way around, watch if I twist this, it affects all of these keys at the same time. So you need to go from the top. The top of the ladder, you can twiddle all the notes you want. So you need to go. It is running. It is working. For some reason the vibrato only happens for a second and then disappears. I'm going to swap this because it's the closest to the knob out. In my head it seems to make sense that it might be that. It's just funny that it's replaced with such a tiny one. Let's turn it on. Plug it in at least. Turn it on. I then methodically put it back together. I think it actually probably got damaged in shipping because I don't remember it saying in the description it was broken, but you know, it was an easy fix, and I glued back a bunch of the cracked bits of wood and stuff, and yeah, it's looking good now. It's sort of working, and it's ready for museum use for the museum goers. Anyway, let's have a go and see what it sounds like before we pop it back over at the museum. So as you saw in the inside, it is obviously a monophonic synthesizer. It's like a solo kind of synth, and it's quite good at what it does. I mean... So there's a rotary encoder, as you saw on the back of that. There's a bunch of capacitors that make different RC filters in the back of it to make different waveforms. Oh, that one's a nice. And then we bring the vibrato in. It's got quite a large scale to the vibrato, bear in mind none of this has been modified. Doesn't go very quick. That's the quickest. We've got voice A. We've got voice B. We've got voice C. It seems to be in no real order. Voice D. Voice E. And then voice F. Well, that's got an interesting notch to it. It sounds really good when you pop a little bit of delay on it. Ooh, let's get some reverb. Also, when I was looking at the Patreon post, I realised I've actually already made some sample instruments of this. So if you want to download and play this, well, you can, because I made a bunch of them with the different voices. They're available to download over on my Patreon, and you can have a play on this, even if you don't come to the museum or you don't build your own one. Anyway. Right. Oh, I've got to tune it. really much else to the synthesizer. It's kind of cool though, isn't it? I really like synthesizers like this. There's no frills, there's no faff. It's just about plopping it through a bit of effects and just getting a good lead line, and you make fun melodies like that. I mean, yeah, there we go. So yeah, if you want to come and play on this, come and play on it over there. This museum's not obsolete, or you can download the samples, like I said, over on Patreon, which, needless to say, helps support the museum and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm Sam. Have a good time. This is Schober Tunesmith. Toodly-doo.